first reading today, God says to Noah, I will establish a new covenant with you and your descendants after you. A new covenant. After the one with Adam, he now makes this new covenant with Noah and his descendants, his family. Just a few days ago, we began our Lenten journey, and we recalled this idea, this reality that yes, God is Father, and therefore we're His children, and we go towards God with hearts that seek to be ready, but we go as a congregation, as a community, as a church. We journey together. And so this covenant is as well with a family, in a way prefiguring in some way the church. And in a covenant, we can find something that's something much greater than simply a contract that we agree on. Covenants forge bonds of freedom and commitment on the basis of an oath. It's a lot right there. Bonds of freedom in commitment. So there are bonds, and if we just had bonds and we had commitment, we would feel we're constrained. But there's that word in there. Bonds of freedom in commitment, in an oath. As we think of the things that are expected of us in a covenant, we see certainly the things that God promises, to be faithful, to be there always. And we look at ourselves and we wonder, maybe we doubt a little bit that, will I be able to live up to my end of this agreement, of this covenant? And it is worthwhile stopping and saying, this is a different kind of agreement because it's with God, and God cannot fail. And He is our Father, so He actually wants us to succeed at what He's asking of us. Success not necessarily in the way that the world sees it, but success in our relationship with God. And so He won't fail. He'll hold on. And instead of putting all the weight on ourselves to keep our end, what we're asked to do is actually put that back on God and say, look, I'm going to anchor myself in your word, oh Lord, in my faith, in my hope. And because you are faithful, God, then I can be faithful. During these days of Lent, as we continue to transform our hearts, let us ask perhaps this Sunday as a special intention to ask God for an increase of hope, that we might know. Later on in the gospel, we'll hear about Peter who walks on the water and he worries for a moment and then he sinks. But let's not forget that for a few moments there, as long as his eyes were fixed on the Lord, he walked on water. For us as well, keeping our end of this deal with God, of this covenant, as we live with bonds of freedom with this commitment, let us set our sight on God and know that He calls us because He is a Father, and if He asks anything of His children, He will be there to sustain us and receive us.
This has been a production of the Duke Catholic Center. If you enjoyed this video, please consider a financial commitment to support our ministry here on Duke's campus. We're grateful for your support of vibrant Catholic life at Duke.